Hey everyone. I'm Bear Hart, and welcome to today's show. Today we're diving into this super wild, what-if, scenario. Imagine Denmark suddenly gets this crazy idea and decides to lease out 69% control of Greenland to the United States for 99 years, like a long-term stock deal, in exchange for fully developing the entire island. No protected zones, no holding back, 100% full-on development mode. Sounds like straight-up sci-fi, right? But instead of just saying yes or no, let's look back at history like a mirror to figure out the real political and economic logic behind it. First, a quick history warm-up. Greenland isn't some tiny rock, it's the world's largest island, bigger than all of Europe put together. Under all that ice, massive amounts of minerals like rare earth elements, oil, natural gas, and with climate change melting things, it's opening up the Northwest Passage shipping route too. Strategically, this place is gold. Ever since World War II, the US has been obsessed with it. Back in 1946, right after the war, President Truman straight up offered Denmark $100 million to buy Greenland outright. That was huge money back then, like billions today. Why the rush? During the war, the US had already built military bases there to stop Nazi subs, and they wanted to lock down the gateway to the Arctic so the Soviets couldn't get in. Denmark politely said no, but the US didn't give up. Through NATO, they've kept the Thule Air Base running there to this day. So fast forward to our hypothetical, Denmark offers this 69% lease deal for 99 years, kind of like how Britain leased Hong Kong back in the day, not a full sale, just a long-term rental with a return date. But the big catch? The whole island has to be 100% developed, full mining, factories, roads, everything. What would that really mean? About 80% of Greenland is covered in a thick ice sheet, but underneath lie insane resources. Full development would mean massive mining operations, building infrastructure, and it could seriously impact the local Inuit people and the fragile Arctic environment. From a historical lens, would the US actually bite? Look at Trump in 2019, he publicly floated the idea of buying Greenland, and Denmark's prime minister called it absurd. But why even suggest it? Climate change is melting ice, turning Greenland into a new frontier, tons of resources plus key military positioning. By 2026, with China and Russia pushing hard in the Arctic, Russia's already building bases everywhere up there, a US president would probably be tempted. History shows the US loves smart land grabs. They bought Alaska from Russia in 1867 for cheap, people called it Seward's icebox, but now it's oil and gold heaven. They bought the Louisiana Purchase from France in 1803 and doubled the country's size. Low cost, massive payoff. If this lease lets the US get in without a full buyout, avoiding international backlash, share development costs, and lock in bases, mining, and shipping routes for nearly a century. Yeah, they'd seriously consider it, maybe even jump at it. But history also has warnings. US expansions often came with native protests and environmental blowback, like after the Mexican-American War or the annexation of Hawaii. Greenland's Inuit already push for more autonomy, they got self-rule in 2009, and Denmark deals with independence talk. Forcing 100% development could ignore ecology, anger US environmental groups and Democrats, plus draw heat from the UN and EU. Remember how interventions in Vietnam or Iraq went south partly because local realities were ignored? If full development speeds up ice melt and sea level rise, the US could end up the global bad guy, like Britain's colonial legacy in Hong Kong. Economically, though, Greenland holds about 15% of the world's rare earth reserves, super important for electric cars, wind turbines, missiles, basically modern tech's vitamins. The US wants to break free from relying on China's 90% control of rare earth processing. Trade wars in the 2020s made that painfully clear. If American companies like Tesla or defense firms could move in big time, the payoff would be enormous. Why would Denmark even consider leasing? They subsidize Greenland with hundreds of millions of euros every year. Maybe fiscal pressure, or using US power to counter Russia and China, like Cold War base leasing deals. My take from history, the US would probably go for it at around 70% odds, but they'd push to soften that 100% development rule into something like sustainable development to dodge the environmental backlash. Now, let's zoom in deeper on those rare earths, continuing our Arctic series. Rare earths aren't dirt, they're 17 special metals crucial for EVs, renewables, and military gear. Think back to the 19th century, Russia sold Alaska to the US for $7.2 million, got mocked as an icebox. Then gold and oil poured out, huge win for America. Greenland could be the next Alaska. Proven rare earth reserves there are around 1.5 million tons, with estimates up to 36 million tons, ranking about 8th globally. Key spots in the south, Kvænfeld, over 11 million tons, including heavy rare earths, and Tanbreez, possibly the world's largest, around 28 million tons, with 27% heavy rare earths. But here's the catch, exploration started in 2007, and by 2026, not 1 ton has been mined. Why? Brutal cold, down to -40 degrees Fahrenheit, 80% ice cover, no roads or real infrastructure, it's like trying to mine on the moon. If the US got control through a lease or big investment, it could diversify global supply, cover maybe 25% of demand, weaken China's grip, and boost green tech plus defense. Like how European powers fought over African diamonds in the 1800s, boom times, but also conflict. Locals, Inuit, would protest, environmentalists would freak out, Denmark even banned uranium mining in 2021 because some deposits have it. China already has stakes, like Xinhe in Kvænfeld, if they expand, the Arctic becomes their backyard, and the US flips. Bottom line from history, resources are power. From ancient Rome fighting over salt mines to today's lithium battles, the game never changes. If this lease happened, the Arctic could turn into the new Cold War frontline, or even a new Middle East for critical minerals. What do you think, folks? Would full development be a game changer or a disaster? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Next time, more economic deep dives. Thanks for watching, see you soon.